it's not looking too promising. There's a mizzle in the air. It's just a mist. Mixed with the drizzle. Like it's absolutely soaking, even though it doesn't look like it's raining. These sets that are coming in, these waves, they're a little bigger than I usually like. I think I'm going to have to get creative with the mark. Hello, welcome to this misty Slippy Limpets video. It's the second trip back out on the rocks, and as you can probably tell, it's misty, it's windy, it's wet, and some big swells. Probably not the best time to be here, but the weather's just been atrocious for the past couple of weeks. Scratching my head thinking of things to do, and thought I'd just come out, give the lures a go. But I've arrived here and the air's full of moisture. The swells are 3 foot. They look a bit bigger from up here, to be honest. They are due to die down by about half a foot, but looking at them, I'm not too sure about that, to be honest. The other main problem I've got is because of the mizzle, the rocks just aren't drying. I did actually leave a little later than I usually would this morning, and that was in the hope that it would dry out. But this foggy mist is just not going to let it happen, so I'm going to have to be careful with the mark that I select if I'm climbing down to it, because the rocks are like ice here, and it's not a safe place to be when it's wet. Me, just because of the size of the swell. These are deep water marks, and the rollers just come in without much warning, and yeah, the first bit of land that hits your cliff or your mark, and got a tendency to wash over them, so got to be really careful. I might not actually get on some marks. I'm just going to have to try a few and see. I've got a couple of mind, which will work okay. The lads on a mark over there, or at least trying to find somewhere close to the water to fish. See how gingerly they're kind of moving around, and it just highlights how slippy the rock is, really. Well, it turns out that I'm an absolute idiot, and then it just struck me that I've actually left my GoPro in the car, and my camera, which is no good. Can't film all the fishing on my phone like I'm filming this, so just gonna have to hot foot it back to the car up the hill. Lucky I didn't get down to a mark and realise. Woo! But I'm on my way back now. Got my GoPro. Feel knackered. But on the plus side, so you might be able to see from behind us, this mist's clearing over there. See a couple of guys fishing with big bait rods on the rock on the backside of the harbour there. But hopefully this, with this breeze and the relative warmth with the mist clearing, it might help dry the rocks a bit quicker, make the approaches a little safer. So rather than inspecting them from afar and wondering, oh, is it worth it, at least I'll be able to get down to a couple and see if it's if they're fishable and safe. Yeah, you're right, ladies. This is the third time I've been past here. Well, it's been 45 minutes since I last came past here. I'm just going to pick up my bag now, which I dumped around the corner just so I wasn't carrying a heavy weight back to the car. You can see those lads that were fishing there are now having a bit of move around and seeing if they can find somewhere close to the water. The very first time I came here, that's exactly where I went. Hope they get something. They're moving towards those boulders, which should probably be easier to fish off. And there's a bit of a deep gully in front of them, so maybe you might get a bit more luck there. Yes, my bag's still there, thankfully. Covered some elevation today. So I was just on that hill over there, and then I pointed to this hill over here, and as you can see, it's pretty misty, it's windy, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. The swell does look like it's dying down a little bit, so but the sun's not shining through, which would make the marks more approachable. I'm gonna have a bite to eat, quick bite to eat, a drink of water because I'm parched, and hopefully one of the conditions might change a little bit. That's a kitty wake there. Cooling down a bit as well after all that walking. Back on the mackerel sandwiches, mackerel, chili cheese, salad and mayonnaise, and a nice white baton or baguette. Oh, I definitely need some water. I'll probably get down to this mark here, although it's pretty slippy, and it's quite a high platform to fish from, but the problem is, how do you get a fish out of the water if you do get one, especially a decent one. I've made my decision. I'm going to go and try this mark and see what it's like. I just realised I had my water bottle out and it's actually warm to the touch. When I picked it back up, that might be because my hands are freezing. It's more likely the fact that the sun's actually got some heat in it, but hopefully that might be helping to dry the rock out, and the rock in here is dry-ish. So let's give it a go. I feel a bit reinvigorated after that mackerel sandwich. My battery level was running on empty. I think my next investment is going to be some spikes for these shoes, and then at least all I'll have to worry about is swell. I'll dry my shoes before I get onto the rock, or at least attempt to. Whoa. See? You see how easy that was to have an easy, a slip even on, you know, sort of lighter angled ground. The most risky avalanche conditions are on about a 30 to a 38 degree slope, because there's so much force acting on your shoes, and as long as you have decent shoes on, then it tends to you tend to have some more grip. But it's when you get onto that sort of 30 to 40 degree slope that you really need to pay attention, because you think you're past a difficult bit, but in reality you've just got onto the really dangerous bit, as that little slip just showed. All it needs is one freak rope wave, really. Gonna have my wits about me on here, I think. But I've been standing here for a few minutes now, and it's hard to get an idea of scale on the camera. Well, I almost talked myself out of it just by watching the swell there and talking to you guys about it. Do a foot swap. There's very little for your hand holds. I mean, 10 years ago that would have been a big hold for me, but now with my 40-year-old finger strength, it's not. So it's all in the feet. Looking for good footholds, secure ones. saying to people who ask me how you get down to marks, this is how. But the most important thing is just to take your time. If you ever feel nervous or unconfident, then don't do it. Whew. Well, I feel exhausted after the 3 and a bit hours of tramping around, walking around, trying to find somewhere to fish, going back to the car and get my GoPro. But we're here now. I'm only a metre off the water, so landing a fish, if I do get one, it'll be pretty easy. There's still some canny swells coming through, but oh, speaking of which, and I'm on a flat platform here, so I don't want it to any of the waves to come over, because that would be pretty disastrous. So I'm going to stay away from the edge. But what I'm going to do is now get my tackle box out, and I've got in here somewhere. Had loads of fun fishing with the LRF kit last week. Got myself a little 8-gram Savage Gear Seeker. There's a seal over there. It's a good sign. And also, you can find it in this messy box. Yeah, there it is. I'll pick those up. There's a tiny slow jig from not Savage Gear, from Major Craft. It's called a JP Slow. It's in like a little Joey mackerel colour. You can see that on there. 2 assist hooks. It's got a slow fluttering descent, and I think it should be ideal in these conditions. Weighs 10 grams, so it's right on the edge of my rod's casting capacity. But with the swells the way they are, I've found that the fish tend to, although pollock and cod tend to be on the bottom most of the time, in the swells I think they come up a little higher off the bottom. It's just a feeling I've got, you know. I've hit more on the drop in these conditions, and sometimes quite a way off the bottom than actually on the seabed itself. So that's what I'm going to start off with. Oh, it feels mint to have a line in the water. I'm going to put my rain jacket on now. It's hard to believe it's June and I'm wearing pretty much what I'd wear in a winter session. Felt like a little rattle there. Don't know whether that was the water hitting my line. Didn't feel like it though. Let's have one more then. Bottom. Right. Oh, no way. Oh no. Not a fish. Piece of weed maybe? Oh no! Oh! It just came off! Oh, I was just winding in to change lure. Typically I caught a little coolie on there. Wow! Might be on with this lure then. Shame I didn't hook him properly. I thought I'd just hooked a piece of weed or something. But no, it was a little coalie. So I wonder if the fast retrieve's working and the slow retrieve, I might give that a few blasts more to see if I can get a fish on the shore for her. At least the fish showed some interest in this lure, which is always a positive. I think the sink, as mentioned earlier, the fish are higher in the water and maybe the sink rate's a little bit too quick for this little guy. Let's get this Savage gear room packaged and on. Oh, straight on. Woo! Well, that was the first cast with that lure. Quick retrieve. No, this doesn't necessarily feel like a coalie. Oh, it's in the weed. Oh, it's taking us all around the barnacles. Oh, it's a canny coalie. Well, hey, we've got a fish. Got a fish. It's not a bad one. I think it's probably a little bigger than the ones I was catching 2 weeks ago. Not quite as fat. Doesn't have the same colour on, but it's long. This is why I don't like using trebles though. Oh, it just came straight out. There we go. Here's the lure again, straight on a fast retrieve as well, so that seems to be the way for the coalies. There we go. Another coolie. Thought it was much bigger, but it was just foul hooked. So that was another nice little coolie there on the great fun on this light tackle. Just as with regards to the tackle, it's my Savage Gear LRF rod, 8 foot, 2 to 10 gram casting weight with 6 pound braid, Shimano Hyperloop 1000 FB. And this is why I'm using slightly heavier 10 pound line, just because it's obviously stuck there in the weed, and I could feel the rubbing on the of the leader actually on the barnacles. You could feel the vibration going through the rod tip. But yeah, second fish on the shore, happy days. So, might be the end of the LRF session, or that lure anyway. Oh, yeah, it just snapped. Bugger. Snapped a bit easy that. Oh yeah, I lost loads of line. Just when it was going well. Well, that just snapped us off there when I was trying to get that lure out. I've lost about half of my braids, so there must have been a damage in my braid somewhere. It's just snapped straight off. Oh, it's a real bug. I was really enjoying that. But I think what I'll do is I'll get the heavy rod out now and see if there's anything bigger lurking around. That's that same piece of structure. That took my Braid and Savage Gear Seeker. I knew it was risky going there. Felt like I was lifting out of the structure, or winding out of it. But looks like I've just wound straight into it. I doubt I'll be getting this back. Moved a bit. Well, at least it didn't take off my braid this time. I did just use that good lure. So guys, just lost that fish, crazy eel down on the lure clip. I think what I'm going to do is the swell seems a bit more manageable, or at least that mark's going to be higher out of the water now because the tide's dropped down. Been here, well, 2 hours. Caught what, 2 coalies, 3 coalies, so it's not been too bad. I'm going to just pack up a bit and then mosey on round the corner and hopefully get into some deeper water. Well, I'll definitely get into some deeper water, but hopefully there might be a bigger fish or two around. Come round here and there's a bit of a stiff breeze, but the rock's dry. The swell is pretty big, mind. And as I got here, there was a seal just cruising around the edge here, around the reef, and he came up with a big pollock, so hopefully he's full on that and left me a couple, or one. I'll be happy with one. Tied on this Savage Gear sand eel, which is a really good secondary lure or option compared to the fish minnow, fish crazy eel, sorry, and they're a fair bit cheaper as well. Feels like I'm getting hits on the way down here. Must just be small. Oh god, that's a big wave. A little bit of poo came out there, I think. Nah, that's too much for me here. I've given it half an hour, and in my opinion that's half an hour too long. So I've come back round to where I started. It's a whole different world round here. It's completely benign compared to around the corner. The water's nowhere near as deep, but it's a lot safer. And what I'm going to do is it's half an hour till slack water. So I've tied on this Savage Gear Seeker, the metal, pink and black one, see if there's any codling around. So obliging. Oh. Damn, it came off. Oh, this feels like a canny one. I don't feel any head shakes or anything, but it's definitely not a coley. Come on, codling. Oh, it's fighting now. Miles out. Scoot around these rocks. Yes. Well, there we go. And I called it as well. Nice little codling. Happy days. Drop it off over here because there's a bit of a nice. See, codling do like pink and black, and they also like slack tide as well. So, wow, caught that miles out as well, and he hit it on the drop. Thought initially I'd hooked into some, I don't know, hooked into a piece of kelp or something, that because it didn't feel like he was fighting at all, and then he put a little bit of scrap in. But aye, took us 20 minutes. Let's see if I can get another one before I have to shoot. So there's the lure there. Savage Gear Seeker, pink and black. Usually find these work really well in dirty water or dark water for bass, but it's also a colour that codling really like, and seems that they also like slack tide as well, which has been a theory of mine for a little while. But got about 20 minutes or so before I have to shoot, so see if we can get another one. Feels like another codling. Gotta take a step back here, like. Oh, it's got his hung up. So almost kicking off with a swell. Come on, out you come, matey. Oh, that swell came at a really bad time. Maybe try and change the angle a bit. Well, that's it. Just waited 15 minutes, probably 20 minutes in total, and there was nothing doing, no movement or anything, so I tried to force it out. But my line snapped at I think at the knot. A little bit of chafage there, so I'm assuming that that it transferred, the fish had transferred the hook into a rock, because there was absolutely no movement from weed, you know, in the swell or anything like that. So the fish obviously wasn't on there anymore. It had transferred the hook into some rock or something like that. It's one of the problems with trebles, because they've obviously got, if you hook the fish on one hook, then you've got two more kind of out in the open, ready to snag on things, and because these fish try to just dive for cover straight away, it's quite a common thing. So with that, I'm going to call it a day. It's been a kind of day actually, after all my walking around and getting wet, and you know, 3 hours before I even got on the water. It's been good to catch a few fish. Codling at the end of the day made the session really, and whatever that was, felt like a pollock, just because it was fighting back a bit more than the cod. Guess we'll never know. So if you like the show, or the video, give us a thumbs up, and if you want to see some more of them, please subscribe, hit the notification button as well, so you find out whenever I post a new video. And until the next one, tight line.